Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It has been a long time since we have been on here, and as you can tell, our background is a little bit white today. It's definitely not our house. We are on the road. We are traveling. We have been traveling for a while now. So we are not in our normal environment, so our lighting is kind of off. Our routine is definitely off. Everything is off, has been off for, like I said, quite some time. But we kind of came up with something to kind of do that's a little bit different of what we have done kind of in podcasts past. We both kind of came up with something a little bit different to kind of give, I don't know if it's some insight maybe into each one of us or not insight. I don't know what you would call it. But I came up with some questions for Jesse, and he came up with some questions to ask me.
We're going to interview each other.
We are going to interview each other. So this could go all sorts of different ways. Yeah, so we'll see. This may be all over the board, but it's kind of late. We have been on the road for hours today, so we're both kind of tired.
Today.
We have been on, like I said, we've been traveling. We've been, all sorts of stuff.
All good stuff.
Good stuff, but we haven't been sleeping in our own bed, which we have an armhole. If you want to know about an armhole, send us a message because it's literally the greatest thing, but it could be the worst thing too because we're used to sleeping with an armhole. Greatest thing ever invented. I'm not really sure why they didn't invent that sooner. It's called I don't even know how you pronounce it. Sonu?
Something like that.
SONU, sleep. If you've never heard of it, go Google it. I'm serious. It will change your life. But you can't travel with it. So, we don't sleep very well when we go out of town. So we kind of want to be back in our own bed. But anyways, that's beside the point. That was a totally random tangent that I just went off on. So we're going to start with, I'm going to ask him some questions first and hopefully kind of elaborate a little bit. And then he's going to ask me some questions. Don't peek. Don't peek. This is going to be like a catch of the moment. Can you even see?
Yeah, I can see that. I know my best to stay awake right now.
Okay. So I kind of was just doing this as we were driving today, as a matter of fact. But we've kind of talked a little bit in our podcast past about a little bit of our backgrounds. If you haven't seen some of our podcasts, you can go back and look at some of them because we've had some crazy stuff happen in our past. Some by a lot by choices of our own. But so first question, looking back on your life, give me 3 defining moments for you.
3 defining moments of my life?
Yeah. Could be anything.
Well, there's 3 big defining. The good defining is 1, getting sober. 2 would be finding Jesus.
Okay, so getting sober happened when?
April of 2007. Got sober.
Just celebrated 17 years.
Yeah. April of 2007 and 17 years, mostly good, all sober, and all, there was certainly higher power. There was God involved in that whole thing all the way through, but certainly wasn't a knowing Christ like I do now, and that just happened a couple of years ago. April of 22 is when that happened, and that was by easily the most important thing. And then the 3 defining moments, and then marriage to you, when we finally got married in a church after finding Christ and locking that in with a covenant forever and ever. So, think that's it.
Okay. So, is there anything about your life that you wish you could go back and change? And if so, why?
Well, you would think the answer would be yes. There's all sorts of bad things, all sorts of crap that happened, and most humans would look at all that and go, absolutely, let's change this and this and this and just a whole list of things. But all of that stuff turned me into what I am today, and into having the knowledge, having the skills, the life skills, having the stories, living through some stuff in order to make me a better person today. So luckily I found Christ, and so it's not too late for me. So, but yeah, the answer would be absolutely not. I wouldn't change anything, because what I am here today is exactly what God had intended for me and us to be at this exact moment. But I could totally understand how some of the stuff you wouldn't wish would happen to anybody. But I'm glad if it had to happen, I'm glad it happened to me.
So, talk about what you believe. So, I don't know if this is worded right. So, what you believe that you were searching for time after time in all the running to different countries. So, for those that don't know him, he took jobs. He calls it the world tour. So he took jobs in all different countries for different oil companies, working on offshore drilling rigs and all this kind of stuff. Pretty much running away, is what I would call it, running away from things. So, talk about what you believe you were searching for time after time in all the running to different countries, all the drunkenness, all the different women. But in all the stuff, you were still coming up empty. But what do you think it is or was that you were actually searching for?
So at the time it was happening, I don't think I was running from anything. I talked myself into thinking that I was running to a better opportunity, running to a people that understood me, running to things. But I was the only person on the planet that was thinking that. And most everybody else would look at it and know that I was running from something, which is what I know now. I was running from that son of a bitch in the mirror. That's what I was running from. And of course, everywhere I go, that guy's still there. And I know that now. But at the time, I wasn't necessarily running from that. I was going, these people over here had treated me so bad, so I had to go over here to these other people and give them my services, my drunken services, and whatever shenanigans I was in the middle of. So, yeah, I mean, it's another one of those deals of what I look back at is different than what I was looking at then. Especially that guy. That guy was an atheist and a drunk and always had an excuse for everything that had happened. And that guy was just a jerk. But now looking at it, it was all sorts of really good, really great experiences that I can use to help somebody else somewhere down the road.
So if you could go back and tell a younger version of yourself anything, what would it be?
How far back we going?
As far back as you want to go.
Which Jesse are we talking to? Don't lie to Dad about about I don't know. Don't say the F word in front of my mother when I was about 6 or 7. Don't do that one, Jesse. That would be one I'd certainly wish I could take back, or at least wait until I was old enough to be able to receive a punch well. I don't know. If I can go back and tell anything, what would it be? I don't know. That kind of ties in with, did I learn something later on use for the good, or is it, I don't know, a whole lot of it would be, shut up, Jesse. Shut up about being an atheist. Shut up about, being mean to people. Shut up about just being a jerk and hurting people. But then again, all the people that I hurt, I later looked back at it and felt bad for it, which then in turn helped me become who I am today. So, yeah, I don't want to be, wish I could not be that mean, but it happened. I had to own it and look at it, and then luckily go back and try to fix all that to the people that I knew I hurt. So, once again, non-answer answer.
Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one. Do you have any marriage advice for maybe a younger guy or someone who thinks they may have it all figured out?
If you got it all figured out, well, why don't you give me some advice? Any marriage advice for somebody?
There doesn't even have to be anybody younger. So those that don't know, we have had plenty of failed relationships. Many of which both of us, and again, we've talked about this on podcasts before too, many of which we knew going into them should have never happened, but again, it happened. So
marriage advice.
Any advice, yeah.
If I get a bunch of guys around, I got all sorts of great advice. If we're hanging around the campfire, I'll say something I wouldn't say in front of on the podcast, where mom might be listening. So there's marriage advice. I don't know. Instinctually, I'd say don't do it, but it all had to happen in order for me to be what I am now. So do it. Just don't. Yeah, do it. Do it and make the best out of it. Do your best. Do the best you can when you're doing it, and be honest. There you go.
Okay. So we have talked on previous podcasts again about your struggles with alcohol. We know some people, some marriages, and some families that are currently dealing with alcoholics or addicts. What would be some advice you would give to both sides of the equation?
If you want a drunk to get better, leave them alone.
Leave them alone how?
Leave them alone. Quit answering the phone. Quit giving them money. Quit cleaning up his messes. Quit helping. Because that's all we've ever really wanted, is to be left alone. That's all I ever wanted. Leave me alone. Let me do my own thing. Because I thought I could do it better. I thought people were keeping me down, even though they were trying to help. Well, the help wasn't helping. Only thing that could ever help me is to let me fail. So the quicker I can fail, the quicker I know I failed at life, the better I'll be. Which doesn't make sense, I understand, but it makes perfect sense to me. And it's one of the things that I've told Wailea, and I've told most people that have been in my life at all during the last 17 years. If you see me drinking a beer with lunch, the next thing you should do is slash my tires, call the cops, get me fired, leave me, change the locks, whatever you've got to do to get me back to bottom as quick as possible. If you love me, you'll do that. That's what I've told them. And so if you love me, you will destroy my life, because the only way I'm going to get better is if I see I don't have any options. If I don't have any options left, then I'll reach out for help. So if you got somebody that's actively drinking, actively alcoholically drinking, the only way he'll get any better, in my opinion, and there's 1,000 ways to do it, the one that worked for me is give him the steering wheel, let him run that thing into the ditch, and once he realizes that it's done and over with, then he's got a shot. One of the best gifts I was given was people saying, don't call here, don't show up here anymore. We don't want anything to do with you. And when I had that is a version of bottom. And once that is held true, then I can see what I've done. I can see the mess I've made, because I can't hear somebody tell me what kind of a mess I've made. I can only see the mess. And once I see it, I got a shot. I think that's it.
So not really the same question, but do you have any regrets of maybe something that you said or a way that you lived your life that potentially led someone you knew away from God? If so, what would you say to them now?
I've actually done that a few times. There's been a few people in my life where I could explain to them in great detail how there is no such thing as God, and I've tried to clean all that up. The ones I have met and ran into over the past, whether it be apologize for being so strong and boisterous about it, or just let them know what I've changed and turned into. Now I've finally seen that the biblical account of Jesus Christ is the only way that there is, and the ones I've known about, I have gone up to them and owned it and apologized, and everybody that hears that is just over the top elated, happy. So I'm sure there's people out there, people that were in the next table over while I was telling some stuff. I'd love to talk to all of them, but and so any of them know who I am, please give me a call.
So one thing we are learning is to put full 100% trust in God and not ourselves. What is the hardest part about that for you?
Hardest part about putting 100% of my life into trust God?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that there is a hard part to do it. There's a concern that I'm gonna think I'm doing it when it's really me, Jesse, doing it. That's a concern of mine. But as far as if I know it's 100% and it's coming from God, no doubt about it, man. I'm all in. I've been reading the Old Testament here lately, and David grabbed 5 smooth stones from the brook and took on a giant. It was like, I'd love it. Awesome. If I knew there was a giant and I knew the rocks would do it, I'm all in. But my biggest concern would be, of course, thinking that I'm going to go take on a giant with a rock, and it being Jesse believing his own crap again that got him in that predicament.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, that's not, I guess that's one of the questions. So one thing we are learning is to put our full 100% trust in God and not ourselves. What is the hardest part about that for you?
Listening and knowing that knowing that it is God that's telling me what I think I'm hearing.
Because there's a lot of times that we're trucking along, and I mean, because there's a lot of things that we're walking through at this moment, and we're going along, and then it's like something happens, and it's like fear sets in. It's like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? Like, oh no, like.
Yeah, and the constant reminder of what we're doing, it for. You know, it's the more I stay close to the Word and close to prayer, then the more I know what we're doing is right. You know, I go halfway through the day, and I haven't said a prayer in a while. I haven't done any kind of reach contact with God of any kind, and then something happens, and yeah, it's instinctually like, yeah, let's go and do whatever we got to do. But that's Jesse running the show, so the closer I stay in contact with God throughout the day, the better it is, the easier it is to know that what we're doing is 100% doing it all in and all for Him.
Yeah. Okay, so life is throwing us all sorts of crazy curveballs. When we met, it would have been our life's goal to live somewhat off the grid. I say somewhat off the grid because y'all that don't know me, like I have to have a hot shower. And when I say hot shower, I'm not talking about for like 2 minutes, okay? Like I take like probably one of the longest showers known to mankind. So,
Yeah, off the grid with a water heater.
with a water heater. Yeah. But now
Big one.
yeah, like a 75-gallon water heater for 2 people. But now we both know God is calling us for a greater purpose, calling us to use our testimonies, our past, all of our trauma for His glory. How are you with all of that? If God told you tomorrow to go sell everything we own and be on the road for ministry, could you do it and be totally okay?
Absolutely. I'd do it in a second. You ready?
Let's go.
As soon as I know for sure that's what God needs us to do is to liquidate everything, put it in a knapsack, and take off across the country.
Knapsack?
Whatever. I'm in. Well, they had those little hobo sacks where they tied it onto
Like a
onto
little
a stick.
stick?
Yeah.
Little stick in
Yeah.
a green bag
Yeah,
or something?
I'm in.
I need more
Absolutely.
than a stick in a green bag.
One of us
Please,
needs to.
Jesus.
You know, we can do that every other day shower. We can
Oh, Lord, help me.
once a week at a truck stop. I'm all in.
Okay. Okay, and then the last question I have for you. At the end of your life, what do you hope people remember of Jesse Cudd? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
End of my life, what do I hope people remember of Jesse Cudd? Humble child of God. A humble child of God that was led by faith and found Jesus Christ and told everybody he could find to sit still long enough about him, about the path to Christ. Whatever, everybody's is going to look different, and mine's got a few scars on it, but not as bad as some, but mine is mine. And if I can reach out to somebody because of that, then I want somebody to just remember that he did it. He was willing to do it and actually did it. You know, that's the 90s wrestler that I quote all the time. Don't sing it, bring it. And I want to be a guy that brought it. And that's it. Legacy do you want to leave? Somebody who brought it.
So here's another thing about Jesse. So he gets like, I don't know how many phone calls a day from these like spam phone calls. And I don't even know how many months ago he like decided, he just told me, he was like, I'm going to start practicing witnessing. And I was like, okay. And so y'all, he literally, every single phone call that he gets, Every single one. Like, I get so frustrated at like these spam callers. I'm like, no, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. I don't care for it. No, I don't need it. Stop calling. Like, no. Every single one he gets, he asks them, do you know Jesus Christ? Wait,
Have you given your will and life over to Jesus Christ? Most of them hang up immediately. Sometimes there's been a few really good conversations have happened because of it. I don't think anybody's come to Christ because of it. They all have
it's
a
going
really
to happen.
thick
I have
accent.
no doubt. It's
Some
going to.
guys want to argue about Buddha. Some guys want to argue about Muhammad, and I do my best to speak with them back and forth about what they believe versus what I believe, and but everyone, and I started that a while back when I was a salesman, had to answer the phone whoever called, and rather than me getting upset about it, I just started asking them if they've given their will and life over to Jesus Christ, and it's been very comical, and it's a really good way to help train me up on how to do it.
So some of them are like, get into this big long conversation, and they're like, they finally are like, sir, I'm at work and I can't talk about this right now. And he's like, okay, well, you have my phone number. You call me when you get off. I don't think anybody's ever called him
Nobody's called
back,
me
but
back.
I'm like expecting that it is going to happen. Like, I have no doubt that it is going to happen. Like, God is going to give that to him. So, anyways, another piece of information if anybody wanted to know. Okay, so what you got?
All right, since I was driving all day long, I had plenty of time to not think about these questions. So, all right, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Very deep, intellectual. They really want to get to know you.
Haagen-Dazs chocolate.
Haagen-Dazs chocolate. Nice. All right. In what way have you benefited from being the black sheep of the family?
Benefited? Oh.
I worded that specifically like that. It wasn't by accident.
I think I have definitely learned to be independent. Very independent.
That it? The end? If that's it, then that's it. We go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Did you freeze up?
Well, I don't know about benefits.
It's benefit. It's count it all as joy, my brethren. So it's all a benefit. And
Okay.
if it made you more independent, then that's a good thing. Okay. What are the positive points of totally coming to Christ so late in your life?
You know, I mean, we talked again. We talked about some of this on another podcast, but I was raised in church my whole life, and so I've kind of had to unlearn a lot of things of what I thought I knew. The difference of religion and relationship, the difference of truly knowing Christ for myself instead of what I have been told to believe. I think that I think both of us, you know, have made a lot of probably not so great choices in our life that we both now believe that God is using as a testimony for something. And so at this stage in our life, coming to God, you know, that path has not been so straight and narrow and clean and however you want to say it, where, we don't have all the scars and all the hurt and all the trauma and all the things to be able to hopefully share with other people, to be able to maybe help others walk through things that they're going through. So I would say that coming to Christ at this point is being able to use all that for His kingdom and His glory and all the things. And not that it's not wonderful and great for the people that don't have all the scars and all the trauma and all the things, because that's wonderful too. But that's not what our path looked like. So I would say, yeah, being able to use all of our stuff, all of our mess.
Okay, now it's kind of the same question, but not. Why do you think God has chosen us at this time?
I think that God calls everyone. It's just you got to be willing. That's the thing is, and I think at this point in our life is we're finally willing and like, okay, we've done it all wrong for all these years.
Here's what not to do. Now let's try
We
to...
can definitely tell you. We can definitely tell you all the things not to. We can definitely tell you all the things to not do. But I think I think that both of us have got to the point in our life of being done with being self-sufficient and trying to be the controllers of our own lives and trying to do it the way that God wants us to do it. And so it's like, whatever that looks like we have no idea. We have no idea what that looks like for us, but it's like, tell us what to do and we'll do it. Just show us, So I'd say that that's the reason. So I think that he calls everybody. I mean, and it's going to look different for everybody. I mean, everybody's called to do something different, but I think he calls everybody. It's just you have to be willing in whatever capacity that looks like.
Okay. All right, now the big one.
Oh.
Not only me, but men all over the planet want to know this. Why do we need so many decorative pillows on the bed?
Because it makes it beautiful.
Okay, that it?
I put them on there and I take them
You
off.
do? I didn't say anything bad about it.
Because it makes it beautiful.
Because of the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. In what ways has being adopted made your life better and worse?
I don't know if there's a better and worse. Oh. I don't know if there's a better and worse. I am blessed. I was adopted at birth. I am definitely blessed that my birth mother gave me up for adoption. She was very young. I do know my birth family, both sides. I met them, had the privilege of meeting them the first time when I turned 18 years old. Jesse has since had the chance of meeting my birth parents. He actually got to meet my birth dad this past weekend. So he knows where a lot of my quirks come from. Is that what you call them? I don't know. I don't know what they're called.
Birth dad is very clean. Great guy, very clean. So I see where she may get.
Yeah, so it's like, so we were talking about this whole nurture versus nature kind of thing of like, it's very odd how you can like not be raised around someone but have like so many things that are exactly like somebody. Very, very strange. But so yeah, I mean, I think I am blessed in a lot of ways of, birth mom cared enough about me in life of, not aborting, and giving me a chance at life. And I was raised by, family that could take care of me and could raise me and all this kind of stuff. But, growing up, I didn't really know, had all the questions of like, who do I look like and who do I act like and who do I, all the things, because I didn't act like anybody and I didn't look like anybody and I didn't, it's like I'm like a foot taller than everybody and I'm dark headed and I, as I got older, which I don't know if some of this is because I have been hurt as far as like in relationships or whatever, but like, because I probably wasn't like this, or I wasn't like this as I was younger, but I got more assertive in things that I say and got more black and white about things that I say. I get told I mean quite a bit, not by him, but by family members, that I mean quite a bit because I say what I mean and I mean what I say, and I don't really change from that very often. So some of that may just be from relationships, but yeah, so I didn't really know like who I acted like or why I acted like all the things. So it's like it's cool to know like now like to see other things or maybe see other traits in people that like were my birth parents that maybe I act more like, that I don't act like who I grew up with or whatever. Kind of felt like the odd one out sometimes in the family that I grew up in. So I don't know. I don't think that it was, what was the original question? Bad or good?
Yeah,
Better or worse?
yeah. What are the pros and the cons of it?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it was like, I don't know. I don't think it's a pro and con. Like I said, I'm very appreciative of being given life. I mean, I would have never met you had I not been adopted.
Right? No, I mean, there's a lot of really good things that came from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, life had to happen exactly how it had to happen for whatever. So, I mean, I'm grateful for all of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for all of it.
Okay. And does it bother you that so many seemingly bad people continue having good things happen to them?
No, I don't think so because I mean, I can't say that it doesn't bother me when it happens. We know people we know quite a few people, actually, personally, that are not the greatest of people, or have done people wrong, or money is the number one goal, and they'll run over whoever they have to run over to get the money, or they'll run over whoever they have to run over to get some title, or they'll run over whatever. And it seems like, in the grand scheme of things, that like those people climb higher and higher and higher. However, as a Christian, in reading the Word and the Bible, you have to stay, or I have to stay focused on the fact that ultimately, and yes, the flesh in me, wants to be upset or get upset. And so there have been people, that like I was friends with at one point or whatever, that just at this point in my life, that I stop following on social media or whatever when I start seeing things, because it's like I don't even care to be caught up in the drama or the craziness, because I know too many things or too many truths about things that I don't care to be involved in that, or I don't care for my name to be attached to something that I know truths about, if that makes sense. Like, if I know shadiness is going on, I just don't care to be involved in stuff like that. So I just don't want to be attached to any of it. So I just remove myself from it. However, reading the Bible, reading the Word, it clearly tells us that God takes care of it in the end, and that He is the ultimate say, and that we all answer to Him, and that none of that goes unseen, and that the people that are dishonest or cheaters or liars or thieves or doing things shady or underhanded, or however you want to say it, like none of that goes unseen. So whether that person to the human eye looks like they are prospering or getting rich or getting this title or getting whatever, ultimately it doesn't matter, because in the end it will all be taken care of. Does that make sense?
Yep. And the last one is biggest regrets. What do you regret out of your life?
Ooh.
You have any regrets? And just turn that into a yes or no, and we can move on if you want to.
It's kind of along the same answer as you had. It's, in the grand scheme of things, it's, or outsiders looking in, it's like, people would say, yeah, she should have a lot of regrets.
You should have a whole bunch.
Should have a shit ton of regrets. Every single thing that I have ever been through, every failed relationship, every bad decision relationship, every part of it, I have gained something gained some kind of knowledge, grew some way, learned something about myself, learned whatever. So, as much as I want to say, yeah, I have a lot of regrets. There's a lot of things that I wish I could go back and be like, really wished I wouldn't have done that one. It all had to happen, you know, it all had to happen to bring me exactly to where I am. Do I ever want to relive or rewalk anything that's ever happened? Heck no. No, thank you. Never want to go back to any of those places. You know, we look at pictures of, you know, Facebook memories are wonderful. They're really not. But Facebook memories come up, and, you know, it's crazy because the time that you're living in all of it, I guess you don't realize how sad you are or how upset you are or how crappy your life is or whatever. But it's like we look back on pictures now. He doesn't do social media at all, but I'll like send him a picture and he's like, when was that from? And I'm like, oh, 6 years ago or 5 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever, 7 years ago. And he's like, oh my God, he's like, you look so sad, or like, you look so whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, didn't realize it then, but you can definitely just tell a difference. So as much as I want to say, yes, I have regrets, it's like it all had to happen to bring me exactly to where I am, for God to use it.
Thank
Don't
God
want to go
for all
back.
the bad stuff that we went through.
Definitely don't want to go back. Definitely don't ever want to encounter any of those people ever again in the history of ever.
Bring them on. It's all right.
But no, I can't. I mean, I can say I don't regret it because I don't have to live it again. But so
Right.
is that it?
That's all my questions.
So anyways, so sorry it's been a while, but like I said, life has been crazy. Our life is always crazy, but
Well, life is always wonderful
it is wonderful.
and crazy.
Wonderful and crazy and all the things. But if y'all have any questions for us, please reach out. And if y'all want to know anything or have any topics, please reach out. And we will see y'all again soon. And we hope y'all have a great night. Bye.
Bye.